So thanks very much for the introduction. My name is Patrick. I am 22 years old and I'm an Irish traveller. And I work for an organisation called Involve Youth and Community Services. Involve is a travel-specific organisation. We have 7 different youth projects across Ireland, with 2 of them being here in Meath. Okay. So why am I here today? I am here to talk about traveller mental health and what tools my organisation has developed to support travellers, but to support the mental health of all people and of all communities. I am an advocate for Jigsaw. I do a little bit for mental health. I do a bit of everything, I suppose. It's a bit of everything. But I'm an advocate for Jigsaw. I'm on their youth advisory panel, and I do various different things, like photography projects and so on. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste too much time introducing myself, but we'll get started. So basically today's presentation is about bridging the divide and tackling the stigma and causes in traveller mental health. Okay? So you may be wondering, who am I? You have heard the word traveller, so who are travellers? Okay? So travellers are an ethnic minority, indigenous to the island of Ireland, and have been around for many, many years, even well before the Great Irish Famine. Okay? We have our own unique histories, traditions, culture, and even language. Okay? So travellers, years ago, travellers would have lived in different types of accommodation, just like this one here. This is a tent made from flexible lengths of wood. Travellers would have lived in these by the side of the road, in a field, and they would have also lived in like mobile homes, camper vans, caravans, and so on. But this picture here, in particular, is of a traveller family who would have lived in County Meath, where we are now, in one of these tents back in the 1960s. Okay. So, unfortunately, for all people, mental health is a serious issue. But among travellers, it's even a more serious issue, unfortunately. Travellers are a community of about 33,000, which represents less than 1% of the population of Ireland. But yet the suicide rate for traveller women is 6 times higher than it is for the general population. And then this rises to 7 times for traveller men. Okay? So we believe that stigma, shame, racism are probably the main causes of traveller mental health. Travellers face prejudice, unwarranted hate, shame, discrimination on a daily basis. So this has to have an effect on their mental health. And I'm sure most of you here would have your own indigenous people to your country and your own ethnic groups. So I'm sure they would have very similar issues and concerns within your country as well and your communities. According to an All-Ireland Traveller Health Study that was done back in 2010, it reported that some of the barriers to traveller mental health were the likes of discrimination and racism, a lack of culturally appropriate services, and a lack of trust and awareness from both travellers and healthcare professionals. Okay. So, what has my organisation done to support mental health of travellers, but for all communities and all young people? Okay, so back in 2017, we set up what's called the No Shame Project. So you're probably wondering where the idea of No Shame came from. So No Shame started off back in 2017 at a conference, and there was different talks, discussions, whatever going on, and one young person came up to the staff and said, what if there was no shame? What if there was no shame in having a mental health issue? And then this is where the No Shame came from, okay? So there's a video next that's going to explain to you what the No Shame is in more detail, how it all began, and where it's going, okay?
The No Shame journey began in 2017.
It all started off with a mental health conference where Involve Meath brought a group of young people to Galway to meet with other traveller groups across the country to talk about mental health.
The young people carried out numerous mental health workshops across the country. The word no shame kept coming up in all discussions.
Young people asked the question, what would it be like to have no shame?
What they meant by this was, imagine there was no shame to have mental health challenges and no shame to talk about mental health.
From there, we made posters, key cups, and many more.
The No Shame board game was designed by young people for young people to talk about mental health using a fun tool like a game. The young people have travelled around the country delivering workshops to the local schools and telling them about No Shame game to make more awareness about mental health. The game contains a variety of features, including barriers to proceed like a black dot. This represents a hard time in which you miss a goal. It also contains a variety of card decks with various challenges associated with them.
In order to win the game, you must collect the cards numbered 1 to 5. These cards are known as the Ways to Wellbeing.
There are also the No Shame cards. These contain positive affirmations. Studies say if you say positive affirmations out loud, they help disrupt negative thinking habits and build a space for your brain for positive thoughts.
The next set are called It's Okay to Ask for Help. These give real life scenarios young people may find themselves in. They must choose the best response to that scenario. If you guess it correctly, you win a coin.
Once you win 5 coins, you can buy one of the Way to Wellbeing cards. Once you have one of each card, you can win the game.
The final set are called It's Okay Not to Be Okay. These cards focus on naming your emotions.
So as you all just heard, it started off as a conference, back at the conference a few years ago. So you're all here for the last few days, learning different things, getting different ideas. So imagine what you can do from the information you learned today, what you can bring back to your country, and what you can do to support mental health of everyone, of all communities, where you live and where you're from, okay? So if you're wearing your running shoes today, I'd advise you get down to the tool market straight away when it's on and get your hands on one of these mental health board games. We only have 20 available, so don't walk, run as fast as you can and get one. Please don't have an argument about it. But who knew that talking about mental health can be done in a fun way? So this is why the game was developed, to have that kind of free-flowing conversation, a conversation, with no stigma or no hate around it. A free-flowing conversation, but also having fun, and while also talking about your mental health, okay? So following on from that No Shame game, the young people in our servers have come up with the idea of putting together a mental health podcast. So they call it the No Shame podcast, and it's available on Spotify. This podcast has about 5 episodes, a part of the first season, and we plan to do more episodes in the coming months. So if you are interested and you do think you can bring something to the table, please get in touch, and we'd love to have you on, okay? So this is another video that was developed back in 2019 by the young people in our servers. This came before the board game and before kind of the main things like the podcast as well. So this is a social media video that has thousands of views on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And you will see a slightly younger version of me in this, so please don't laugh. A lot has changed in the last couple of years, so we'll give it a watch. Let me know what you think, and then we'll move on.
No life.
No happiness. No depression.
No racism. No escaping. No discrimination.
No suffering.
No faith. No hardship. No hate.
No courage.
No sexism.
No anxiety. No rumours. No addictions. No homelessness. No difference.
No gender.
No stereotypes.
No abuse.
No kindness.
No equality.
No isolation.
No bullying.
No shame.
No shame. No shame.
No shame.
No shame.
So, thanks very much. I'm not sure if anybody spotted me in the video. I look very younger. So, basically the No Shame is practically a tool for all communities, for all individuals. And this video that you've seen there, that was the main video, the main thing of the No Shame. That came well before the board games and so on. And this really worked really well. So from today, or from the last few days, if you want to do something for mental health, it can be something as simple as putting together a social media video like this. And it works really, really well. And by doing one little thing, if we all do one little thing here today, when you go home, that can make a big impact. And we can make big changes for mental health, for all communities, and for all countries and so on. So I probably am about finished, but I will be here for the rest of the day. If you do have any questions at all, please get in touch with me. But I also forgot to mention, actually, following on from the No Shame campaign and the videos and podcasts, this year we were happy to announce that we have received funding to hire a mental health worker, and I'm happy to say that this worker is here today, Anne-Marie. So Anne-Marie is now working on this No Shame campaign on a national level. So it was a local level, being in our Mead project in Navan and Trim, but now, because we received funding, it's now being worked at a national level. So we hope to do more and more each day and make a positive change for mental health of trappers. Before I finish, I'd like to say a huge thanks for Lurgus for having me here today to both represent myself, my organisation, and also the traveller community. This has been a great pleasure to be here today, and I hope you all took something from this. And I know it has been a very different kind of style for what you've been doing the last few days. So thank you for your patience, and also thanks to Seamus for his support over the last 2 weeks or so in putting together this presentation and guiding me on the right track. So thanks very much.